Why come ye hither, redcoats? Your mind what madness fills? In our valleys there is danger, and there's danger on our hills. Oh, hear ye not the singing of the bugle wild and free? And soon you'll know the ringing of the rifle from the tree. Oh, the rifles, in our hands they'll prove no to rifle.
Wake up! The British are coming! To arms! The regulars are marching! Wake up! Wake up!
How do you awaken a motley collection of colonists?
The British are coming!
How do you convince New England merchants, Virginia farmers, Philadelphia craftsmen to wake up, recognize their common grievances, and fight for their common rights? What do you say to stir 2 million of the king's subjects to a fight for freedom? What do you say, Mr. Sam Adams, lately the host of a certain tea party?
If I am to have a master, let me have a severe one. I shall then be constantly disposed to take the first fair opportunity of ridding myself of his tyranny.
The Boston Tea Party. Sam Adams replied to the tea tax. But what of a dozen other trade restrictions? These too have gone before Paul Revere and William Dawes to ride throughout the countryside and arouse the people of all classes. And now, with the dawn, the redcoats are marching. But what say you to this marching, men of New England? Where will you take your stand? On the bridge at Concord or on the village green at Lexington?
Stand your ground, men. Don't fire unless fired upon. But if they mean to have a war, let it begin here.
And here it does begin, with a shot heard round the world, but heard nowhere with more enthusiasm than in certain capitals of Europe, where England's enemies unite as they wait to see if the uprising will blossom into a revolution, the revolution into a war, and the war into the defeat of an empire that is threatening to engulf the world. And in London, King George III...
The die is cast. The colonies must either triumph or submit.
But the die is not yet cast. For in Philadelphia, where the Second Continental Congress is meeting in Independence Hall, there are still those who are not aware that they have common cause with the Minutemen.
I'm sorry, Mr. Chairman.
But events will not wait upon the outcome of a debate. And with a heroic resistance of Bunker Hill, the American intention gradually takes shape. And a war which has been confined to a single city and its neighboring towns now spreads out across the New England hills to a wilderness stronghold, Fort Ticonderoga. The British garrison sleeps, confident in its possession of this key to the Hudson River Valley. But a certain daring band of Vermont farmers do not sleep tonight. They call themselves the Green Mountain Boys. Their leader, Ethan Allen. And so forth men and guns fall to Ethan Allen and the Green Mountain Boys. This is the spirit the revolution wants. If only there were a general to weld these isolated, restless troops into a unified, disciplined army. A planter and one-time surveyor. A leader of men who knows a thing or two about the way the British go to war and has a plan.
To relieve the burden on New England by attacking the enemy on his home ground.
And so an expedition is outfitted, as well as the Second Continental Congress can do so, and sent toward the British stronghold in Canada. Meanwhile, from Dorchester Heights above Boston, the big guns of Ticonderoga now look down upon British troops, for Washington has besieged Lord Howe. To the British commander, it's an opportunity to escape. The entire British Army evacuates Boston, and New England is temporarily relieved. But victory is soon followed with defeat. Weakened by extreme cold and the long wilderness march, Arnold's forces arrive at Quebec and are thoroughly beaten by the well-fortified British. The news of hard defeat travels to Philadelphia and sharpens the issue. Whether or not the hour has come to break with the mother country. To some, like Tom Paine,
everything that is right or reasonable pleads for separation. 'Tis time to part.
June 1776. A man from Virginia rises in the Congress. All ears are intent.
Resolved that these united colonies are, and of right ought to be, free and independent states, that they are absolved from all allegiance to the British crown.
When, in the course of human events, it becomes necessary for...
Now, with Thomas Jefferson's words, the die is cast. And independence is declared throughout the land. But to the inhabitants thereof, it looks as though liberty is going to be as short-lived as the term of a Connecticut militiaman, for the little American army is collapsing.
Tune in tomorrow at the same time for another film from Encyclopedia Britannica.